So the NBA draft is less than a month away, and I wanted to talk about a bunch of different topics leading up to this year's NBA draft because I think there's so many exciting factors that is going to go down this year. I want to talk about storylines, pre-draft risers and fallers, some trade ideas that can happen throughout the draft, as well as some player comps, best fits, and some sleepers as well. It's a loaded draft video for you guys. So I want to start off with just a couple storylines that I'm going to be keeping my eye on leading up to the NBA draft. So this is basically going to be a video, just everything you should know about the 2025 draft. First thing is just eyeing San Antonio at number 2. This is going to be, are they going to select Dylan Harper, or are they going to potentially package this pick in a bigger trade? Now, if they are trading this pick, it's not going to be for somebody like Kevin Durant. They don't have to give up number 2 overall. That'd be more so maybe pick number 14. If they're trading the second overall pick, they're trying to go after somebody like a Jaylen Brown or Devin Booker, but more so a Giannis Antetokounmpo. So if they do decide to move this pick, that means they're landing a massive name in return, because Dylan Harper, I think it's going to be fascinating what Philadelphia is going to do at 3. They could trade the pick, but also, are they going to select a, they maybe move down, or do they take somebody that's a better connecting piece, complementary piece to Maxey McCain, Paul George, and Embiid? That would be somebody like a VJ Edgecombe, maybe a Trey Johnson or Con Knipple, rather going with the high upside swing in Ace Bailey from Rutgers. I think it's going to be interesting to see what teams that have multiple first round picks in round number 1 do in this draft. Do they try to trade these picks and consolidate some? The Brooklyn Nets have 4 first rounders here, or are they going to attack different areas that they need going forward? We know Orlando needs shooting. Are they going to just draft the 2 best shooters that are on the board for them? Is Atlanta just going to draft the 2 best front court guys on the board for them as well? We know Brooklyn needs a point guard. When are they going to address that need? Is it going to be at pick number 8, or is it going to be later in this draft as well? There's a real chance we're going to see 3 Duke Blue Devils go in the top 10, which is kind of insane. Come on, Mal, you watched their center from last year's season, Cooper Flagg, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick to the Dallas Mavericks, and Con Knipple, who I just mentioned, who can go as high as number 3 to Philadelphia, and he's definitely going to be a top 10 pick. And I think another cool storyline is just how is the point guard shape up going to be? We know Dylan Harper is going to be the first guard off the board basically, but where's the order of Jason Richardson from Michigan State going to be? Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma, Kasperi Shakuchonis from Illinois, and then you got the international guys like Ben Serra from Ratio Farm and Nolan Traore from St. Quentin. How are they going to look in this draft as well? Is one of them going to slide to maybe the second round? Are they all going to go in the top half? Now I want to talk about some of my favorite sleepers in this class, guys that are probably not going to go in round number 1. They're either going to go in round number 2, or they're going to be key undrafted free agents, which can work out. We saw that in the 2021 draft with Austin Reeves to the LA Lakers, or even in this most recent draft with Justin Edwards to the Philadelphia 76ers. So one of my favorite sleepers in this class is Zion James from Duke. Everybody wants to talk about the Duke freshmen, right? The guys I talked about before that are all projected to go in the lottery, but Zion James was a huge part of Duke's success last year. He's 6'5", does not have a great wingspan. He's not the biggest eye popper when it comes to his athleticism out there, but man, does he play hard. He plays physical. He plays tough. He's a great defender. He's going to dive for loose balls. He's NBA ready at 22 years old right now. Spent the past couple of years at Tulane and then had a major productive year this year for one of the best teams in the country with the Duke Blue Devils. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's good at finishing around the rim, and like I said, is a really good perimeter defender. And if you can get somebody that could just be a 3-and-D wing as strong as he is in the second round, I think that could be a home run pick for somebody's playoff rotation going forward. I think another sleeper is going to be Mohamed Faye coming over from Italy. He's the Senegal center that has just eye-popping athleticism for somebody at his size, and he's somebody that is just going to finish around the rim. He can block shots. He moves well for somebody as his size, and honestly, just taking a flyer on him in the back half of the second round, or maybe with an undrafted pick in today's NBA, when you need these athletes that can rim run, that can guard the interior, he could be that guy for you, and you're barely going to pay anything for him if he's going to go where he's expected to be drafted, either at the end of the second round, or you're going to be picking him up on the minimum as an undrafted free agent. I think another sleeper is Kobe Sanders from Nevada. He's a 6'8" point guard. He could play the 1, he could play the 2, he could play the 3, but he's somebody that does not turn the ball over. He's got great court vision. He's quick, he's agile, and he can get to the free throw line. And somebody at 6'8" that can handle the ball off the bench, that can get his teammates involved and can play winning basketball, I 100% think he should go in the second round. I also like Micah Peavy from Georgetown as well. If you watch any Thomas Sorber tape, Micah Peavy is going to pop out on your screen. He was definitely the best player for the Hoyas last year. He's a little bit older at 23 years old, but I think he can contribute right away for you. He's a fantastic defender. I love how he attacks the offensive glass, and we can see how valuable that could be in the playoffs one day. He's going to hustle up and down the floor, super high competitive motor, and also a great 3-point shooter. He shot 40% from 3 last year for the Hoyas. I definitely think he should go in the second round as well. And then my last sleeper isn't really a sleeper anymore. I feel like everybody was talking about him after the combine, and that was Hansen Yang, the Chinese center coming over from the CBA. He's going to be 19 years old on draft night, one of the youngest big men in this class. He's very talented with the ball in his hands. He could be like a secondary offensive hub big man for you coming off the bench that can get his teammates involved, has a nice post touch around the rim, and oh yeah, is 7'2". Just a 7'2" crafty playmaker, somebody of his size with the touch around the rim. I definitely like him over somebody like a Janai Broom or Rocco Sikorsky in this draft. We'll go from the sleepers to the biggest risers and fallers. I think the biggest riser has to be Cedric Coward, somebody that just a couple years ago was playing D3 basketball. Then he played a few years at Eastern Washington, just played 6 games at Washington State last year, and that earned him a Duke transfer commit, or he was going to go to the NBA draft, and he just fully committed to the draft. So now he probably knows that he's going to be a first round pick, and that is a meteoric rise for somebody that really wasn't on draft radars a year ago. Coward is 6'6", but has a massive 7'2" wingspan. He's got great hand size. He's a very solid defender right now that's going to continue to get better. He's going to be 21 years old on draft night, so it's not like he's going to be 23 or 24. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to get his teammates involved. He's not going to turn the ball over a ton. He shot 40% from 3 last year in just a 6-game sample size, but shot 38% from 3 in 32 games the year prior at Eastern Washington. Everybody wants somebody of Cedric Coward's playstyle in today's modern NBA that can guard multiple guys, that can knock down threes, can be very physical, getting downhill and finishing at the rim. There's a really good chance he goes in the top 20 now, which is crazy from where he was a year ago. I think Carter Bryant is very similar to Cedric Coward. He's a little bit younger. He's 19 years old, but he's had a meteoric draft rise as well. There's a good chance Carter Bryant is going to go in the lottery when he was probably considering at one point to go back to school at Arizona. And it is crazy that he's a consensus top 20 pick right now because he just averaged 6.5 points last year for the Arizona Wildcats. Now, if you watch his games, he was somebody that was going to stand in the corner a lot, but his jump shot form looks very good. I think it's going to translate over to the NBA level. He's got great measurements. He's 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan, 215 pounds. He's a perfect 3-and-D stretch 4 in today's modern NBA. Good chance he's in the lottery. And another player that is rising up draft boards right now, in my opinion, is somebody that was a consensus top 5 pick going into this season, and that was Nolan Traore from St. Quentin. He got off to a terrible start shooting the ball this year for France, but he had a really nice 20-plus game finish to the end of the season where he was efficient from the field, efficient from 3. And if you're watching him, he's got a really good dribble package. He's going to get his teammates involved, and he's one of the best players in transition in this draft class. I think he's going to make himself once again a top 20 pick in this class after people were off him a little bit. And then some fallers. I think the first one has to be Ben Serif. He was also somebody that was maybe going to be a lottery pick at one point this year, but I think his other point guards have passed him, like LeBaron Philon and Tahad Pettiford. There's maybe a scenario where Ben Serif is actually going to go in the second round now, but I think Phoenix at 29 and the Los Angeles Clippers at 30 should definitely target him with their first round picks. They could use a point guard long term. I think Jace Richardson is also falling down draft boards right now, and it's just because of the measurements he had at the combine. He measured in at 6 foot without shoes right now, and he's somebody that is not a great passer, so he's going to be basically a shooting guard at the NBA level. So that is going to hurt his draft stock a little bit because you wonder if he's going to be a liability on the defensive end of the floor. But I just love the way Jace Richardson plays basketball. He comes from a great lineage. He's the son of Jason Richardson. He's got the work ethic. He was playing against NBA greats growing up and training in that aspect, and he was just an elite shooter, an elite shot creator at Michigan State last year for somebody that was on a good team, didn't have a large role, and expanded that role over the course of the year. He's very crafty with the ball in his hands. I would still take him in the lottery, and I'm 100% buying the dip in Jace Richardson right now. And then another player that was going to be most likely a top 10 pick pretty much until February that has lost a little bit of draft stock, Liam McNeely from UConn. Maybe there was going to be a chance he was going to go back to school. He's going in the NBA draft. I still think he's one of the more safer shooters in this class. I know the shot did not fall late in the year, but if you look into maybe an overusage of his workload, maybe look at the injury he suffered in January as well, those could be some indications that McNeely was going to show some signs of regression in the second half of the collegiate season. He played at the best high school in Montverde Academy before UConn. He was great in the first half of the year. I think he's still worth a first round pick, but he's definitely falling down draft boards right now. I mentioned it before, but I think there's a bunch of teams that could look to trade their first round pick as well. We only saw a few trades last year. Like we saw the Portland Trailblazers trade the Bub Carrington pick and the Denny Avdia deal. We saw Minnesota kind of make a shocking move, trading up to number 8 to take Rob Dillingham. I wonder if they would do that in hindsight. I think Philadelphia can also look to trade the number 3 overall pick. There's been talks that they would like to package that and Paul George with Kevin Durant. Might be a pipe dream, but I think there's also a chance they could trade down, maybe try to add somebody like Cam Johnson or Herb Jones if the Pelicans or the Nets want to move up. Speaking of the Nets, I think they could look to move many of their first round picks. They have 8, 19, 26, and 27. I don't know if they want to draft 4 rookies out of the gate, so I would not be shocked whatsoever if we saw some type of Brooklyn Nets trade on draft night. Houston at 10 is also a team that I think could trade their pick as well. This is a luxury for them. This is what they got in that Nets pick swap last offseason, and they have a ton of young talent they still want to develop, like Jalen Green, who still needs more development, Reed Shepard, who barely played last year, Jabari Smith Jr. is entering into the last year of his rookie contract. To even talk about Cam Whitmore, do they want to also draft somebody at number 10 who may not really play a ton for them next year, or are they going to try to package this pick for a bigger name this offseason? And I think OKC at 15 could also look to trade this pick as well. They are just bringing in first-round picks left and right. They're getting Nikola Topic, who didn't play a single minute this year because of the ACL injury, come to a team that has a chance of going to the NBA Finals. So I wonder if they're going to just look to trade 15 for a future first rounder. And here are some of my favorite fits in this draft class as well. I love VJ Edgecombe to the Charlotte Hornets at pick number 4 if he's there. They need somebody with his athleticism that could run the floor, that could be that 2 guard in between LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. High competitive motor. That's what they need in Charlotte. I love that fit under Charles Lee. I think Kasparas Akachonis in Washington is a great fit as well. I think he's got better court vision right now than Jeremiah Fears. I think he's going to be a better shooter at the NBA level than Fears. He's a bigger guard as well, and I think he could be a perfect backcourt partner to Bub Carrington going forward and can help the development of Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr. Just get them the ball. I just mentioned they may trade the pick, but if they keep it at 15, Danny Wolf in Oklahoma City is just a match made in heaven. Not the best defender in the world, but he could be offsetted and helped out by some amazing defenders over there. In a couple years, they're not going to be able to afford to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein, with Chet, J-Dub, and Shea all getting new deals this offseason. Wolf can move well without the ball in his hands. He's got a crafty touch inside. He could shoot threes. Perfect for OKC's offense right now. I think Nick Clifford from Colorado State is a perfect Miami Heat. Somebody that's going to crash the glass. He's going to do the dirty work. He could score well inside and on the perimeter and can get his teammates involved. And I feel like the Miami Heat need that guy if they don't go with a point guard in this draft. I talked about him before that he may be a draft faller, but if Orlando can take Jace Richardson at 16, I'm doing that. I can have him in the backcourt with Jalen Suggs. I know he's not the best playmaker in the world and the best initiator, but they need shooting, and Jace Richardson is one of the best shooters in this draft. And I know he may not be a great defender, but you got an all defensive caliber guard next to him to help him out in Jalen Suggs. I think that's a match made in heaven as well. And I also really like Nolan Traore in Brooklyn. If they don't go point guard in the top 10 and they don't take Fears or Yakuchonis, I really think they should take Traore with the 19th overall pick in this draft, because he's somebody that can run your offense, that can learn and develop under Jordi Fernandez going forward, could have some good shooters around him as well, and I think that would be a really good fit for both parties long term. And then here are some player comps as well. In my final mock draft, I'm going to give out some player comps, and these are just guys that remind me a little bit. It's shades of, it's not a direct one-to-one comparison whatsoever, it's just who they remind me of a little bit. So I think Kasparas Akachonis from Illinois reminds me a lot of Brandon Podziemski, somebody that could play off of 2 feet, that can get his teammates involved, plays well in transition, but he's definitely bigger than Pods, and I think is actually going to be a better shooter than Brandon Podziemski at the NBA level. But yeah, I guess they both played at Illinois at one point, which is kind of interesting. I think Con Knippel reminds me a lot of Joe Ingles, but a lot quicker, could play off of 2 feet. He's going to be a great shooter at the NBA level. He can hold his own defensively, can get his teammates involved, and is just going to play winning basketball. And a quicker Joe Ingles that can get to the rim a little bit better is a fantastic player that's going to have a long career in this league. Tahad Pettiford reminds me a ton of Mike Conley. Maybe it's a similar floater game that Mike Conley had coming out of Ohio State in his early days in Memphis. He's very quick, can get to the rim, can run the floor, 3-point shot as well. Both are lefties. It reminds me a little bit of Mike Conley, which is a great comparison for Pettiford, who's I think earned himself to being in that first round pick conversations. Colin Murray Boyles, who I haven't mentioned in this video, the best defender not named Cooper Flagg in this class, reminds me a lot of Isaiah Stewart, but way more fluid and I think better ball skills as an offensive player. That's a really good player in this class, because Murray Boyles can guard the interior and the perimeter. He can get downhill, he can finish at the rim. I wonder if he can be as good of a shooter though as Isaiah Stewart. Ace Bailey reminds me a ton of Michael Porter Jr., and I don't mean that in the bad ways. I just think it's the ability to hit these difficult shots. I also think Ace Bailey is one of the more tougher players to scout right now, because a lot of people have him at, that's not a bad player by any means. And then kind of a more niche comp here, I do have Drake Powell of the UNC Tar Heels to Hayward Highsmith. I think he's long, athletic, and can be a very good defender at the NBA level. He definitely needs a little bit of time to develop the offensive game and have more of a feel and touch out there, since at UNC he was kind of like a stand in the corner guy and let RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau cook. So yeah, that is gonna be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It's pretty much just everything you need to know about the 2025 draft. We had a bunch of different topics in this video. If you did enjoy, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about anything I said in this video, and you guys are gonna get my final big board, some more collab mock drafts, and my official mock draft. So make sure you are subscribed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.